Good day, everyone. We'll be talking about the barangay as a political organization. First off, the definition and etymology of a barangay. A barangay is a complex social-political unit of prehistoric society where a number of households reside. The term was derived from a boat called balanghay, in which the people believed to have carried them from their place of origin to the place where they settled. In pre-colonial Philippines, the concept of the barangay was multifaceted and held a pivotal role in the social-political landscape. Originating as a native term barangay or balangay, initially referred to a type of indigenous boat, but later evolved to represent the smallest political unit within Tagalog society. Each barangay was led by a chieftain or datu, which held both political and spiritual authority, was responsible for governance and conflict resolution. These self-contained entities had a hierarchical social structure, with a datu at the top and opportunities for social mobility. Economically self-sufficient barangays engaged in various activities, including agriculture, fishing, hunting, and trade. Spirituality and animistic beliefs were integral, with the datu serving as a religious leader. Mutual defense systems protected barangays from external threats, and each had its legal system. Decision-making involved community assemblies, fostering a sense of identity and belonging among members. Barangays were crucial to pre-colonial Philippine society, embodying localized governance and self-sufficiency, and this historical significance persists in contemporary Philippine governance. In the context of a barangay as the smallest political unit, the population could vary. According to Franciscan Friar Ran de Plasencia, a barangay typically consisted of but few people, possibly ranging from as few as 30 individuals to around 100. These people were part of a single community, often consisting of parents, children, and relatives. The population size of a barangay could be relatively small compared to larger political entities. A barangay was led by a datu who served as the chief or ruler of the community. This datu was responsible for governing and maintaining order within the barangay. The datu had a position of authority and leadership, and the people within the barangay owed their allegiance to the datu rather than a larger municipal, provincial, tribal, or national government. Datus were often part of a network of barangay leaders, and they might form alliances or make decisions collectively with other datus. Even in the Muslim sultanates in the south, where a sultan ruled, the datus within the barangay governed their own communities, while still acknowledging the authority of the sultan. According to Hokano, the datu acted as the legislator, judge, arbiter, mediator, and the general of the barangay. A datu is chosen mainly through inheritance from their families, but an outsider can also be chosen through showing skill and courage during war, accumulation of wealth, or marriage. However, the most important part of being a datu was being charismatic. In some barangays, there are a set of elders which act as a council to aid the datu. They are called the agorang. However, the agorang have no right to make a final decision, as the datu holds all the authority to lead the barangay. Every barangay has a limit to its territories, and the territory the datu rules over is called saku. A barangay cannot enter into another barangay saku without the permission of the datu that rules over it. Moving forward, the concept of the barangay as a state. While it may not match the modern state or the ancient Greek city-state, it's essential to appreciate its significance in local development. Historically, the barangay didn't receive state status, primarily because of Western influences on how we define a state. But first, let's define what the state is. This complex of institutions by means of which the power of society is organized on a basis superior to kinship. Now consider this. The barangay can qualify as a state because its power goes beyond kinship ties, especially when it comes to enforcing rules and regulations. Custom laws played a pivotal role in legitimizing group decisions within the barangay. Furthermore, the ease with which members could transfer to another barangay is noteworthy. In their new residence, membership was no longer based on kinship, but on territory, subject to the authority of the new datu and the custom laws of that barangay. In essence, this situation mirrors the experience of someone emigrating from one modern state to another. It's a perspective that challenges conventional views of states and their development. To truly appreciate the barangay significance, let's consider what defines a state. According to political scientists, a state encompasses 5 key criteria. First, it must possess a clearly defined territory. The barangay met this criterion by establishing its authority over a specific geographical area. Second, a state involves a large aggregate of people. Within the barangay, a substantial population thrive, forming a vibrant community. A state necessitates a functioning government. The barangay operated under its governance, often led by a datu who held authority over the community. Sovereignty is the fourth criterion. The barangay exercised a degree of sovereignty within its boundaries, making decisions and enforcing rules independently. Lastly, a state must have a common heritage. The people of the barangay shared cultural traditions and customs that bound them together. In essence, the barangay's role as a complex socio-political unit during pre-colonial times challenged our conventional understanding of statehood. It deserves recognition as a state in its own right. To summarize, we discussed the origins of the barangay, its etymology, population, and its role in Philippine society. We also discussed how the barangay was governed, the roles of datu, agorang, and the concept of saku. Lastly, we discussed the barangay's development into a state and its role as a socio-political unit.
A sultanate is a type of political and territorial entity characterized by its governance under the rule of a sultan. The term sultanate is rooted in the Arabic language and is used to describe a region or state where a sultan holds both political and religious authority. Now, historically, sultanates have been a common form of governance in various Islamic societies, particularly in regions where Islam was the dominant religion. The sultan, as the ruler of the sultanate, combines both religious and political powers, making the position highly significant in the governance and culture of the state. The term sultanate has its origins in the Arabic language. It is derived from the Arabic word sultan, which means authority or power. The title of sultan itself signifies someone with great authority, particularly in a political and military context. Now, over time, this title became associated with rulers in Islamic societies, especially those who held significant power and influence. As a result, regions or states governed by such rulers came to be known as sultanates. A sultan holds a unique position in a sultanate, blending both religious and political authority. This dual role is deeply rooted in Islamic history and tradition. A sultan's religious authority stems from their responsibility as a guardian of Islam within their domain. They are tasked with upholding Islamic law, Sharia, and encouraging religious devotion among their subjects. This involves supporting mosques, aiding religious scholars, and ensuring the practice of Islamic rituals and customs. On the political front, a sultan possesses sovereign control over the state's governance. They make decisions concerning administration, taxation, justice, and foreign relations, often wielding absolute political authority, which grants them significant influence over the state affairs. The Sultan's dual role embodies the unity of religious and temporal authority within Islamic governance, reminiscent of the concept of a caliphate, where the political leader, caliph, also serves as the religious leader of the Muslim community. While sultanates may not possess the same religious authority as the caliphate, the sultan's role as both political and religious leader remains prominent feature of this traditional governance. The origin of the Sulu Sultanate began in the late 13th century when Arab traders, who also set foot on the Borneo and surrounding Asian countries, performed missionary activities. The arrival of these Arab traders also started the Makdumin phase where Islam first started. Later in time, Chinese Muslim traders also arrived in Sulu and competed with and displaced Arab traders. In the early 14th century, a Sumatran prince named Raha Baginda Ali, alongside with his educators and soldiers, also arrived in Sulu. The prince married a local girl and established a principality wherein he ruled the state. However, in 1450, a Sharif Abu Bakr stepped in the land of Buansa, Sulu, and established the Sulu Sultanate. The creation of the Sultanate meant that most of the inhabitants of Sulu became Muslim and responded to Islam. Moreover, most of the Muslim inhabitants became inclined to politics and leadership. The increase of Islamic influences in Sulu and the rest of Mindanao were made possible through accessible maritime contacts with surrounding Muslim regions like Malacca, Java, and Borneo, and Muslim traders and missionaries from Arab and the Indian islands. Maguindanao, a land whose very name, Maguindanao, means people of the floodplains. Situated in the heart of the south-central Mindanao, and this region holds a rich and fascinating history. Our journey begins in the year 1550 when a remarkable man named Sharif Muhammad Kabungsuan arrived in Maguindanao. Hailing from the distant Sultanate of Johor on the southern tip of the Malay Peninsula, he was no ordinary traveler. He was a Muslim missionary on a mission of profound significance. Sharif Muhammad's Kabungsuan's arrival marked a turning point as he dedicated himself to converting the ruling Maguindanao families to Islam. His teachings resonated deeply, and the ruling families embraced the new faith. Shortly thereafter, the Sultanate of Maguindanao was born. With its seat of power in the vibrant city of Cotabato, it was a dawn of the new era for the Maguindanao people. But our tale goes deeper. In Maguindanao, a mass migration led by Sharif Kabungsuan unfolded. According to ancient records known as Tarsilas, Kabungsuan and his followers left Johor after it fell to the Portuguese. Their journey was not without peril. They encountered fierce storms at sea, leaving them stranded in unfamiliar lands. Undeterred, they'd established a resilient community and in Malabang, Maguindanao. Over time, they found the warm welcomes from the ruling families in the plains of Langit, Mahart, Maguindanao, and Buayan. In the annals of Maguindanao's noble family, their leadership and legacy traced back to the lineage of Sharif Kabungsuan. These noble descendants not only upheld their heritage, but also intertwined it with the native leaders by marrying the young daughters of these indigenous rulers. And let us not forget another pivotal figure, Sharif Maraha, who is believed to have arrived even before Kabungsuan, adding another layer to the tapestry of Maguindanao's history. Manila was ruled by members of the Bornean aristocracy during the second half of the 16th century. This signifies the beginning of Islamization of Manila. In other words, Manila was starting to become a sultanate. Manila was under the influence of the Sultanate of Brunei. But unfortunately, the Spaniards came in 1571 that ended the Muslim principality and overruled the Sultanate of Brunei before Manila became a fully developed sultanate. And that is why Manila is a nascent sultanate. Type your script here.
Thank you and have a nice day. To recap, we discussed the origins of the Sultanate, its etymology, and how it was governed. On the topic of governance and leadership, we also discussed the Sultan, their duties and responsibilities, and the Sultan's roles in religion and politics. Lastly, we discussed the three pre-colonial sultanates in the Philippines, Sulu in 1415, Maguindanao in 1515, and the nascent Sultanate Manila.